Good evening, everybody. We will call our meeting to order, and we'll begin with a moment of silence. Let's all stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first thing we need to do is get approval of the agenda. We do need to make one addition. If I could get a motion to add the Phase 4 contract, water contract approval. Phase 6, excuse me, Phase 6 water contract approval.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
And that is an action item. Also, the Davenport final agreement is an action item also. We need to correct that. All right, all in favor of approval of the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. The agenda is approved. We now have our conflict of interest statement.
In accordance with the rules of procedures adopted by this board in section 153A-44 of the North Carolina General Statutes, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before this board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter. No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict, Broadnax Taylor.
No conflict. Okay, we'll now move on to citizens' comments.
Citizens, for those who have signed up, when you're recognized, please approach the podium. You will have 5 minutes to complete your comments. The chair will cut off all speakers exceeding their allotted time. If you have any questions of the board, you will receive a response from the Board of County staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. And pursuant to North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for citizen commentary on county business. This is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Commissioners, I have one sign-up sheet by Mr. Earl Daniels.
Working, I guess it's working fine. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Board. This month is the anniversary of my speaking every month for 1 year at a commissioner meeting, sometimes more than once a month. I feel my only accomplishment has been to increase the number of YouTube viewers. Unfortunately, as the viewing audience increases and the revelations are revealed, our ratings are going down. My subject tonight is promises made, but promises not kept. In October of 2024, I brought before the board a proposal to name the sheriff's office in honor of Sheriff Frank Allen, who gave more than 44 years of his life to law enforcement in this county. He spent 16 years in the police department in Rich Square, 15 as chief, and 28 years as county sheriff, never losing an election. In spite of that, 95% of those present that evening stood in support of my proposal, including Commissioner Martin. The board postponed their decision until the November meeting. My presentation was based upon past precedent set for naming the Faison Building and the Ely Annex to the courthouse. It should be noted that neither Faison and Ely, both commissioners, combined did not have as much time in service as Sheriff Outland had. In November, the manager presented to the board a proposed policy for naming buildings. At that time, I was asked to comment on the policy. I commented that I disagreed with the $100 non-refundable application fee and reminded the board that my request was grandfathered by precedent and that it was presented prior to the presentation of a new policy. The board chair questioned the reason for the proposed application fee and was told by the manager it was to pay for the plaque to go on the building. The board concluded the fee should be refundable if the building was not named. And furthermore, my request to be grandfathered would be honored. The vote to adopt my proposal was tabled for the December meeting. In December, because new members were coming on board and not familiar with my request, the board voted again to postpone their decision until the January meeting. In the January meeting, the board voted to approve the policy for naming buildings, but again tabled their vote to name the sheriff's office in honor of Sheriff Outland until the February meeting. To date, to my knowledge, no action has been taken on my request. On January the 20th, 2025, I requested information regarding a cost analysis for the renovation of the Odom facility versus renovation of the current facility and the capacity of the Odom facility and a copy of the analysis. A partial reply to my response was the capacity would be 90, which is no more greater than the current capacity. However, I did not receive any information regarding my request about a cost analysis. On February the 17th, I followed up on my request regarding the cost analysis. On February the 25th, the manager replied, yes, a cost analysis had been done, but he did not provide me a copy of the analysis. On February the 28th and March the 13th, additional follow-ups were made to the manager for a copy of the cost analysis. None were ever shared. I can only assume one does not exist. On April the 21st, I requested a list of all holders of county credit cards. On June 11th, I received an email response from Mrs. Edwards, finance officer, stating, quote, compiling a list of names and credit cards for you, end of quote. To date, no further response has been received. I thought there was a promise to the citizens they would have answers to their questions within 30 days. Maybe I misunderstood as to when the 30 days begin. Not knowing how other citizens feel when they do not receive a promised response, I can tell you how I feel. I feel that you're offering a platform for citizens to vent, but with no intentions of providing a complete response. Promises made should be promises kept. A good motto for the next election, don't you think? Now I have one final question. Have any of the commissioners, the county manager, or the veteran service officer viewed the flags at the Veterans Memorial within the last 2 months? Their condition is indicative of a lack of respect for your country, a lack of love for your county, and a lack of honor for your county veterans. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the contract for the Phase 4 water, Phase 6 water project. Oh, I want to keep calling it Phase 4.
Good evening, Commissioners and citizens. I have before you, or you should have in your packet, the resolution, the resolution awarding the construction contract for Phase 6 water system improvements to Ralph Hodge. If you would like, I can read the resolution.
Would the board like to hear the resolution, or you've read it in your?
I read it already.
Okay.
I read it already.
Not necessary.
Okay. So we're just looking for final approval to award the contract to, the construction contract to Ralph Hodges.
Just for the general public, they were the low bidder on the project. It was a publicly bid project. Could I get a motion to approve the resolution of award to Ralph Hodge?
Before, excuse me, before we do any approving, do the citizens understand that this is for $6,418? Is this the Hodges one, or this is for the Hodges one, or is this?
5,669,000.
Okay, this is for the water system improvement.
Right, the water
Okay,
system.
we're not there with Davenport yet.
Correct.
All right, I want to make sure we're very transparent with them.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, let me slow my roll.
And just for the information, this includes Stanley Drive, Big John Store Road, Galasha Road, Horn Road, and White's Avenue.
Okay, we're not quite there yet, but I wanted them to be real clear.
All right. So do we have a motion to approve the resolution of award?
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the resolution for award for phase 6.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Barnax Taylor.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion is carried. Approve the award to Ralph Hodgson. Okay. Next item is the Phase 6 final resolution. Okay, we're ready for the Phase 6 final resolution. Is he putting that up on the screen?
Yes, you should have someone from Davenport coming in to present this.
Citizens, I apologize. This is what I was speaking of.
Hey, good evening. This is Mitch Bergoglio at Davenport. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I apologize. I was logged in on my computer and I guess y'all couldn't hear me, so I'm logged in on my colleague's computer now. I apologize. We are gonna pull up the final resolution right now. I'm sorry, we're all set up on my computer. And there are two action items for you all tonight. There is the adoption of the note resolution, which is approval of the bond anticipation note for the water and sewer revenue bond, which will ultimately be placed with the USDA. That is for an amount of $6,418,000 to fund that project. And again, that will be taken out by the approval for the loan you all have from the USDA. The second action item you have, or the second document you have on your resolution this evening, I can share my screen for you now. All right, so this is the, what's on the screen right now is the resolution to approve the water and sewer revenue bond anticipation note that I just referenced. And this is the first action item. This will be ultimately, ultimately, this will be, like I said, taken out with the USDA revenue bond anticipation note. And it is the action you all, it is the final action, with the first action you all conducted at your special meeting. I don't know. Mr. Phillips, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
So do we need to act on this before we hear the other? Is that what you're saying, or?
I can go over the other resolution right now. Sorry, I apologize. I'm not at my computer, so I'm trying to get back organized. Danny, can you please pull that up? The second document is the bond order authorizing the issuance of the revenue bonds, which will be the takeout from USDA. So with these actions tonight, you will be approving both pieces of the financing, both the interim financing, which will be done during construction, and then the bond order, which authorizes the issuance of the USDA revenue bonds, which will be the long-term financing through USDA, which will be the fixed rate for the life of the loan.
Hey, Denny, can you elaborate? Was there any changes from the last meeting where we did the draft resolution?
No, sir, and I apologize. This is Mitch Pergulio, and we're trying to get that summary that we had at the last time up as well. But there are no changes to the approvals from the last time. We were moving forward with Union. This is the presentation we discussed at the last meeting, and we are still planning to move forward and have locked in the rate with the United Community Bank at the 4.07%. So no changes from this prior presentation. These are just the final board actions which are memorializing that.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
I have questions. My question is, if we're waiting for the USDA to pay this off, why are we going through this bond process? One thing I know about a revenue bond, it takes the citizens out of the process. They don't have to vote on it. They don't have to be a part of it. It's like they're going to the grocery store and we're putting groceries in their bag and they have no say-so. They have no say-so over this. But yet here we are with $7 million alone. And as my father would say, we're doing a bit of showboating here for a Tier 1 county. For $7 million? Why can't we just wait till the USDA just gives us the money and do what we need to do? Why are we going through this? If I read it correctly, we've given the bond folk, we had to get a bond lawyer, which cost us $20,000. And we've incurred other costs from this bond process. Am I right? Is it Mr. Lenny or Benny Thompson?
Yes, ma'am, you are correct. And this is Mitch Bergulio, MITCH with Davenport. And it's a great question. Unfortunately, it's part of the USDA process. It is a requirement as part of their approval. USDA does not issue their loan until after construction is complete and they complete their inspection process to ensure everything was done in accordance with their approvals in the project that they approved. And in doing so, they require this bond anticipation note, a short-term financing akin to a construction loan, to be issued to pay for the construction costs during the construction process before they will issue their long-term loan, both doing the interim construction loan, and when USDA will fund their loan at the end of construction are part of their guidelines and procedures, and were part of the loan documents that they have approved. So I totally understand, and it's a good question. It's just part of the USDA process and procedures that they require.
Mr. Thompson, I see where the local government commission approved us to go through with this process, and I'm somewhat surprised because right now we're on the unit assistance list, and I understand that. I'm wondering, I don't know if you can tell me, but what kind of application fee did the LGC charge us? Because there is usually an application fee that the LGC charges. Do you have any idea how much they charged us?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. The application fee for a USDA revenue bond anticipation note is $1,250.
1,000, how much was that?
$1,250.
Okay, that's not bad. So I'm looking at, there was $20,000 for the bond lawyer. Am I correct?
I believe that is correct. Yes, ma'am. I'm not at my computer. I'm at my colleague, so I need to pull that up. But that sounds right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, sir, I'm just concerned. Number one, my citizens don't have any input in this. We're incurring costs. We're a tier 1 county. We are a poor county. And $7 million, number one, one of the cons of a revenue bond is there's a lot of default. And we're dealing with, because of the high rate in inflation, we could be there's a lot of default in loans right now. You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Thompson?
Yes, ma'am. I understand, and I would say part of the revenue bond process. I totally understand what you're saying, and part of the revenue bond process is an agreement that you all will set rates and charges sufficient to pay the debt service, and the financing approach you all have chosen to go through USDA does provide some flexibility to work with USDA if you do run into issues in the future. So there is a little more flexibility in this process than there would be in other financing options. So that is a benefit of the approach you've taken. And related to the bond anticipation note, the ultimate security with this, and part of the reason that banks get comfortable with the bond anticipation note is you do have USDA, the federal, with their federal participation as a backstop to take out their bond anticipation note once construction is complete. And part of what we provided them as part of their due diligence was all of the approval letters from USDA.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Last question. I appreciate your patience.
Yes, ma'am.
Patience. You're out of Richmond, Virginia?
My colleague, Ted Cole, who was there at the last meeting, is based out of Richmond, Virginia. Myself and Denny, who are on today, are in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for your patience, sir. I really, really appreciate this, but $7 million is a lot of money when you're down here in Northampton County, North Carolina, and that's just a lot of money, sir. Thank you, and I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of cities that have capital improvement plans in their budgets. With this kind of money, we should have had a capital improve, this kind of plan in our budget. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
No cost to the citizens. It just defaults on us.
Just to clarify again, this first step we're taking is like when you build a home, they don't give you a mortgage. You got to get a construction loan. You build the home, then you get a mortgage that pays off the construction loan, and you pay that over long term. There's a short-term construction loan, which is this first phase, and then the long-term is a USDA loan that will pay that off and be paid off over time. Do I have a motion to approve this first bond? Which we already did the preliminary approval at our previous meeting.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the first phase.
Okay, do we have a second? No, second. All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. So 4 in favor, 1 opposed, okay? All right, the next step is to approve the USDA loan, the bond order for the USDA loan for the long-term financing that will pay off the construction loan. Is there any discussion about that? If not, could I get a motion to approve that?
Move we approve the USDA.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Opposed.
Okay,
I'm gonna be consistent.
okay. 4 in favor, 1 against. All right, motion is carried. All right, thank you. We'll move on to the next item, which is the Northampton County Substation EMS Agreement.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Evening.
The item I have for you tonight is an agreement between the county and Roanoke Wildwood Volunteer Fire Department. We have, our EMS employees are housed at Roanoke Wildwood Volunteer Fire Department, and this is a lease to pay them to occupy that space. We have 2 others that we do as well with the town of Gettysburg and Rich Square Volunteer Fire Department. It's for $20,000. We pay the other 2 the same amount as well. This was in the budget, and these agreements were amended in April of 2024, but we did not have an agreement on file for Roanoke Wildwood, so this is to get an agreement in place to cover the $20,000 lease.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about this agreement?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Barnax Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. Agreement was approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have our solid waste presentation.
Good evening again, Commissioners, citizens. Just wanted to take this opportunity to present our solid waste cost. There was some questions about curbside pickup and the cost of GFL and some confusion, so we thought it would be good to do this presentation to give some understanding of the solid waste fee and how that comes about, what makes that cost up. So I'm going to show you a few things. We're not going to go into all of solid waste, but we decided to look at the curbside fee because curbside fee accounts for about 77% of the solid waste cost. So if we just take that into consideration and we cover that, then you have a good understanding of the bulk of the cost. But there was a question about the fee itself this year. It's $240, and I believe people were questioning that, you know, the fee went up this year. How did that happen? And the fee didn't go up this year. Actually, I look at the 5-year solid waste fee history. I went back to 2022, fiscal 2022, and you can see the fee was $210.86. In 23, it was the same, $210.86. Then in fiscal 24, there was a price increase, and that increased the cost to $240. So it's fiscal 24. Fiscal 25, we budgeted the same, $240. Fiscal 26, we will be looking at that cost more in depth to decide if we can maintain that cost or reduce the cost, but it will be a complete study. We'll have a budget workshop for solid waste, kind of like what we did last year, where we'll go into the solid waste fund itself, and we'll show how we come up with the revenues and the costs and all that good stuff. But back in fiscal 24, the Public Works Director proposed a $29.16 annual price increase. That's $2.43 per month. And that was based on a deficit that we had back then in the solid waste fund balance. It was $260,000 that needed to be transferred from the general fund to cover that deficit. And that deficit was driven by the GFL price increase and solid waste uncollected fees. What most individuals don't understand is, you know, that you think about the solid waste fee itself, and I've had citizens to call me up and ask me to send a copy of the invoice for GFL, and they look at the invoice and say, well, that's the monthly cost, that's what I should pay. But that's just the cost of the curbside pickup. On top of that cost, you have other overhead costs that's included in that annual fee. Part of that overhead cost is the uncollected portion. And it would raise a question, well, I shouldn't have to pay for other folks not paying their waste, and I agree with that. You shouldn't have to. So we're going to take measures to reduce that. If you're spending $260,000 in 24, and I believe it was $348,000 this previous year, you can put the resources into solid waste to collect that money. Part of the problem, and not to get into the weeds, but part of the problem is the way that we bill. The solid waste fee is included in the property tax bill. It's included in the property tax bill, and the way that the collections work, and we have a tax administrator here, she can tell me if I'm explaining this incorrectly, but the way that the collections work is once the money's come in, if someone says I have a $210 or $240 solid waste balance and I want to pay that off, I'm going to write a check and I send it into the tax department, the system does not recognize that and say I'm going to apply it just to solid waste, unless the only way to do that is if solid waste is the only outstanding item left there. But it's going to look at the property tax, it's going to look at the fire tax and any other tax, and it's going to allocate that bill out based on the largest amount. So it's going to prorate. that cash. So one of the things that the finance officer and I are looking into is let's take that out of the equation. Let's get a separate billing system for solid waste so that it's separated from the property tax, so that when people pay for their solid waste, it can go directly to that fund, and it will help to reduce those deficits. And then we can have someone monitoring that system on a monthly basis to see what those balances are, and it's not, consolidated with property tax. So we're looking to a new system to break that out. I believe that several years ago, the board put an ordinance together that said that they would bill the solid waste fee with the property tax. So it's not just we want to do this, let's switch this off. So we'll have to come back before you, the Board of Commissioners, and make a proposal to amend that ordinance and identify the new system and all that good stuff. Also, that's the fee. I looked at the curbside pickup costs for GFL only, just the history. And you can see in fiscal '24, it was $230.65. Fiscal '25, it went up to $237.69, and then fiscal '26, it was $194.82, which is great. That's the renegotiated price that we just renegotiated during this last budget season. That price went into effect on July 1st. So it looks like we should have a reduction in price just based on that. But what we want to do is we don't want to jump the gun. It would be prudent to look at your solid waste fund balance. And when I say prudent, I mean, look at the history, look at the first 7 months, 8 months. Let's wait until, and that's why I said the budget season, because the budget season happens between February and March. By that time, you will have six to 9 months worth of data to evaluate to see our trends. And if the trend holds true and we're saving, then we can then convert those savings into a price decrease for our citizens. And that's not unlike any other business that I've been a part in, where you have this type of cost system, and then what you do is a reconciliation at the end of the year. And what that reconciliation does, it allows you to see is if what I've been accruing in my cost, if it's close to the actuals. And if I can beat my actual expenditures, then I can turn that over into savings for the citizens. And then it's based on real data, and it's realistic versus making an assumption and changing it based on you just got a price reduction in this contract, and you've had all these things that's been happening. And that uncollected fee, again, it's been happening. If we don't change something, we don't do something about it, we're just going to repeat history. So we're on top of that, and we're making all the strides to collect those uncollected fees. The other thing is, when we did, I hate to call it a bailout, but they had the bailouts for the auto industry several years ago. But when we talk about bailing out solid waste with general funds, if we have a surplus, it should be the right thing to do to give that money back. So, but I'm going to bring all of that to you, the commissioners, and you all will make that decision to refund that money before we do any adjustments in pricing. Just want to. Just want to show you the method behind the madness. Because sometimes you wonder how did you come up with that number? This is just a straightforward analysis of the, in the far, if you're watching the board with me, that last column that says cost per month, $200,000, $454.18 $0.18. That's what the cost was for the GFL when we did the price increase. The annual cost per year was $2,405,450.16. And then based on the cost per year that Public Works came up with $240, the number of parcels, 10,120, would bring in revenue of $2,428,800. So you can see those two numbers don't match, and they shouldn't match, because what you're looking at is just the cost of GFL, that $200,454. That's just the GFL. So when you have your pricing, you should have your cost of your service, and then you should have an overhead cost on top of that. So you can see it was just a slight variation. It's not a big difference, but it is a difference in there, and you're expecting that. But it's a simple calculation to get to that number. I just wanted to show you. This is just a copy of the invoice for GFL back on June 30th of 24. You see the same $200,454. That was the current charge back then. And then this is just a summary showing just the curbside, the curbside cost, the direct cost of curbside for each of the years 24, 25, and then the budget of 26. And if you follow along with me, starting in fiscal 24, you can see the direct cost for the customers or the citizens, was $230.65 in 24, $237.69 in 25, and then dropped to $194.82. Those are the same numbers that I spoke of previously for the fiscal years. And then the second line is the overhead cost per customer base, and I'll go over how I came up with that number in a few minutes. And you can see in 24, $25.69, in 25, $30.57, and then in the budget year 26, $32.71. So the total curbside direct costs and overhead in 24 was $256.34. You look at what we actually billed, the customer was $210.84 back then. That's a deficit. And that's why we have to transfer that $260,000. So $45 per customer. Excuse me. In 25, you can see the total cost of $268.26. Again, the price increased to $240, but it was still a deficit of $28.26. And you can see that just based on the customer base, that would give you about a $286,000 deficit. So you have a combination of two things that's happening there. You have the fact that you didn't have enough in the cost, and you have the uncollected fees. And again, uncollected fees, no one likes it, but it's a cost of business, and you have to acknowledge it. You can't just say, well, we're just gonna, eat that. But you look in 2026, what we're projecting is that because we were able to renegotiate those prices down, we're able to get our total cost to $227.52. The revenue that we're expecting on an annual basis by customer, $240. Now it puts us in a positive. We're in the black, and that's a projection of $129,788. And again, this is October, so we have until June 30th of next year to close out the fiscal year, and that's why I said by the time we get to the budget season, we can analyze these numbers and see if we're trending the same way. And if we're trending the same way, then we have some wiggle room to do some things as far as pricing is concerned. also include in your packet, and I know it's a lot of numbers, but it's a little bit more detailed, but in the red boxes, you see direct costs per customer base. That's the 230.65 for fiscal '24, 237.69 for fiscal '25, and then dropping to 194.82 for fiscal '26. And right below that, you have your overhead costs allocated. People want to know, well, what's in your overhead? Well, if we're just looking at curbside pickup, we know what that direct cost is, that what we're paying to the vendor. But in solid waste, we have salaries. We have a person that's dedicated just to solid waste. So you have salaries and benefits. You also have operating and maintenance expense in solid waste. And then we included the third line item, which is the solid waste fees. And I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. Excuse me. And what I did here for allocation, because somebody said, well, you shouldn't be allocating all of the cost, that overhead cost to curbside pickup, because it's not all applicable to curbside. So if you can look at the allocated percent, you can see for salaries and benefits, I use 10%. I use 5% for the operating and maintenance costs, and then 100% for uncollected solid waste fees, because that's directly related to solid waste. So I mean, to the curbside pickup. So there should be no wiggle room in that. If that's what it's costing you, that's the cost of doing business until we can make a dent in that number. When you look at it from this point of view, you can start to see if I only look at curbside pickup, it would lead me to believe that I have all of this money that I could then convert and give back to the citizens in forms of a discount. You have to look at your direct cost of doing business plus your overhead. And there's other revenue streams in solid waste, but like I said, solid waste is about curbside pickup is 77% of the total solid waste revenue. But I included in your packet, and I'm not going to go over the detail today, but it's in here. I put in the actual revenue for solid waste that we budgeted this year. You can see how we come up with that number. You can see the solid waste fees is the bulk of that. But there's other things like white goods and scrap and disposal waste and tipping fees and penalties on solid waste and scrap metal revenue. But like I said, the bulk of the cost driver is curbside pickup. So if we can solve the curbside pickup equation, that's going to significantly improve this fund. And then I included some of the current invoices, so you can see that we're actually paying a whole lot less because of the renegotiated price. So again, I didn't want to get into the weeds of thing on tonight. I just wanted to give people an understanding of how that price is figured out. And my door is always open. If you want to stop by my office, you can come on by and we can go through the numbers. We can go through the invoices. I don't have a problem with that. And again, when I use the 10% for salaries and the 5% for operating costs, I've been involved in systems where we actually did time study, to see exactly how much time does it take, to process a product and the overhead that's allocated based on that time study. So if you really want to get to the nitty gritty, you can get to the finite details on what it actually costs to provide that service. And that's what it's going to take going forward. We have to have real data. We have to have some way of saying that we actually did a study, we looked at it, we analyzed it, and You just can't have the build it and they'll come mentality. You got to have numbers to back up why you're doing what you're doing. And that's what we're attempting to do here. And I think we're on the right track. And I always say the proof is in the pudding. We'll see as we go forward. Like I said, it is October, but the time is running. Before you know it, we'll be at the end of the year. We'll have six months worth of data, and we'll keep looking at solid waste as we go forward. I know that Leslie is going to be doing the financial presentations. That's a part of that, so you all can see, that if we're in the red, you will see it right away. And we're not anticipating that happening this year because of that price increase. The only thing that bothers me is, I projected 300 because, like I said, if you don't do anything differently, you're going to have the same outcome. And we have to do something differently. We have to come up with that new billing system. And maybe we don't have to hire a new person, but we can maybe bring in a temporary person to do some collections. And there's other things that we can do as far as, if you're not going to pay your bill, you shouldn't have your container. And I know other counties are doing this because I did an inquiry on listserv. If you don't know listserv, you can throw out inquiries out there and other counties will respond back. And I got responses that they actually go and pick up people's containers if they're not paying their bills. So we shouldn't, I don't want to pay for someone else not paying their bill, and I'm sure there's no citizen out here that wants to do that either. So we're gonna have to get a little bit tougher, but I think at the end of the day, we'll have a better system in place. So I hope that helps a little bit. Again, have open door policy. You want to come by, you want to call me, we can make an appointment, and you can go through the details. If you love numbers, I love numbers. I'll take the time and go through it with you.
Thank you.
Any
Commissioners, y'all
questions?
have any questions? If not, thank you for presenting that.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, the next item is the water infrastructure.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
I think Corey has something to put on the screen for you. What he's going to place before you on the screen there is our mission statement from the Water Department first and foremost, and then a brief description of each of the phases of water, beginning in the early 80s with phase 1. And I think you have that in your packets to look at as well. As phase 1 began, it was brand new to the county. And they took on systems like Lasker that was put in by FHA, put in the system there. And it was under agreement that when they did that the county would absorb that operation and maintenance, as well as the town of Garrisburg. And so that was our foundation that we built on. Each of the phases, as you read through, built from that foundation of infrastructure that was in place. And they worked out from those areas and implemented infrastructure like tanks, additional wells as they went along. Let me see, we created the Gaston system In Phase 2, the North Gaston, Lake Gaston system, we increased service along Highway 48. That was a big phase after the first. And then in Phase 3, you'll see that the Garrisburg system expanded to the Gumberry area. The Gaston system expanded, including Cal Floyd Road, the Lake Gaston system. We added I think it was a 100,000-gallon tank that was placed up at Lake Gaston at Bradley Road. And as we continue to Phase 4, which Mr. Martin seems to be partial to tonight, we see that there were several roads in the Jackson, Woodland, Milwaukee, Creeksville, Rich Square area that were extended. Water was served down Barrows Mill, which created the West Jackson system. Long Farm, we interconnected there with the sanitary district to help better serve our industrial park area. And then in Phase 5, we connected, Phase 5 was a big connection system. So we had a lot of dead-end areas, and Phase 5 allowed us to come in and tie a lot of those dead ends together. And that, of course, helps with water quality as well as pressure and service to citizens. And then you see Phase 6 with what you voted on tonight. I do understand that it is a huge undertaking. And there are many reasons that this project has taken so many years to come to fruition, and so many price variances within that. That this phase will again lay a foundation for growth within the county. It will provide connection right now between different systems that, of course, will allow better service and better pressure to areas in what we consider our western half of the county, and that's anything west of Jackson Seaboard. And so with that foundation for growth there, just to remind you that today the Public Works Department has 12 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee. We have over 300 miles of water lines in the ground. We serve over 5,200 homes in the county with a population of over 13,500 citizens that we provide potable, quality water every day. We've interconnected with every municipality within the county. We have 13 elevated storage tanks with a total of 1.65 million gallons of water in the air to provide pressure and quantity when needed. We have 2 booster pumps, one at Zion Church, one at Hickory Hollow. We also have over 850 hydrants within the county. We operate, sample, maintain 6 different water systems within the county. We have 5 wells that have to be sampled daily. We operate 5 purchase water systems that we purchase water from other entities. And I think that our staff maintains an exceptional level of service complying with state and federal regulations. Do you have any questions on our water system and how Phase 6 plays into the overall plan?
I just would like to make one comment. One key component of the new system is it will connect the east and the west,
On Big
where,
John,
where you
yes.
can share water from one side to the other, which will help a lot.
Can you touch a little bit on how the phases 1 through 6 improve water quality?
The water quality has been maintained throughout its history by public water supply. It was voluntary initially, and then they set guidelines to be maintained that water would be sampled daily. Some samples are done monthly, some are done yearly, and some samples are done over a 3-year period, or like radionuclides are done every 9 years. With the addition of each phase, it has allowed the county water system as a whole to provide services to more customers. It's allowed us to increase pressure by having elevated tanks. We have been able to provide quality water from wells within the county that we disinfect before it's entered into the distribution system. So the water, whether it's purchase system, it's still sampled every day, it's checked. The booster pumps are checked daily. And this has allowed the county water system throughout its entirety to maintain potable water with adequate pressure to the citizens that it serves. We do strive to maintain water quality within our county, and I think we're very proud of our water quality. We pay attention to sampling schedules to make sure that we meet state and federal compliance. And that I'm aware of, since the inception of the county water system, there's never been an instance where the county water system was found to be at failure for quality. Do you have any other questions as to,
Anyone
you know,
else on the
where
board
we
have any
stand? Phase 6 is not the end. You know, we still have a lot of work we could do with adding infrastructure. And so this is, phase 6 is the next step. But prior to phase 6, phase 5 was in 2009 when phase 5 was. So we've been that long without a major infrastructure increase.
Anyone else have any questions? No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next is pay request for DSS workers.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
May I approach and pass some information out to you all? You might have it, and I just want to make sure that you do. Is that okay?
Okay, yes.
he does have a PowerPoint, but just in case. Follow along, right on the paper. Okay, good evening, everyone. To Chair Martin, Vice Chair Edwards, and to the rest of the Board of Commissioners, County Manager. I also have several of my board members, Ms. Vincent, Ms. Jeanette Walker, and Ms. Terry Harris, and some of my DSS staff who have stayed with this child that I'm getting ready to talk about. I just want to go over a few things with you all, and I have a request. Okay, so, in the month of April 2025, we had a guardianship client who had stayed in the DSS building because there was no available relatives or facility placements. In the month of September 2025, the staff and I have had to stay in the DSS building to care for a foster child that was removed from their caregiver's home due to behaviors. There were no other place for the child to go. When we have to stay in an agency with clients, it is usually because they are exhibiting mental health tendencies that are violent or have a history of violent behaviors. Unlike other agencies within the county, we cannot say no. If they are in the custody of DSS, the general statute says that they belong to the director of DSS and the county is fiscally responsible for them. When a guardianship client or foster child has to be housed in our agency for safety reasons, we always have 2 workers. The first shift will always be social workers within the unit that the client is in. We always have to have a law enforcement officer, and the DSS director and/or the supervisor of that unit stays in the building as well. The rest of the shift are covered by at least 2 workers and an officer for liability reasons. Recently, I had to decide to take a foster child to the hospital as it was evident that the agency was not where the child needed to be. Thankfully, the hospital kept the child on a hold until placement in a psychiatric hospital was found. This only happened because I told them that we will have someone from DSS to sit with the child around the clock because the hospital did not have sitters to spare. This solution freed up a worker and an officer, but it took workers away from their families and also put the workers that were at the hospital in a tense situation at times by not knowing how the child would react on their shift. I am asking that I be able to provide the staff that stay with the clients in DSS agencies in the hospital beginning in the month of September 2025, a stipend or some type of compensation, compensation, monetary compensation for their time away from their families and for the stress of staying with a child and not knowing what they were going to do, and for having to drive to and from the hospital all times of the day and night, as this is not the norm, it is our new reality. The staff has been working 8-hour shifts from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., and from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. I have been monitoring the shifts by calling and FaceTiming with the workers when the child acts up, meeting with the doctors, nurses, and security staff, going to the hospital on the weekends and making sure that the child and the workers have what they need throughout each shift. Sometimes this was, let's say, from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. We've had some workers and the child would not go to sleep. The child was having breakdowns and we had to remove him and put him in seclusion. Workers who stay, okay, my request, all workers that stay in the agency receive $200 per shift unless it is during working hours, although there may be times when a client cannot stay around others and we have to have some type of adjustment. Workers who stay in the hospital receive from the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift, $100. From 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., excuse me, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., $150. And from, what am I saying? I'm sorry, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., $100. From 4 p.m. to 12 a.m., $150. From 12 a.m. to 8 a.m., $150. This will cover the travel time in the middle of the night and the uncertainty of the disposition of the client. And I just want to add, and that's what you all have, but I also would like to add, I spoke with Sheriff Smith because we also have law enforcement officers there in the building when they are in the building. And I would like for them to be compensated for the time that they're in the building. So this time we only had one law enforcement officer that was on a shift at night because he can't use the regular law enforcement officers because they're working. So he has to pull someone that is, off duty to come in and sit with us. Also, I did drop the amount. The original amount was $50 higher. And the only reason I did drop the amount of requests is because I need to make sure that I have money in the budget. But whatever you all feel is deemed appropriate. Like I said, I would like to recognize some of my staff that have stayed, and these 4 actually have stayed with the child, and it's one other person the most. And when you're taken away from your family, and you're dealing with situations where children are, I'm going to say children, foster children are coming at you, any type of way, they're punching you, pushing you, fighting you, and they have to be restrained. It's difficult. It's difficult for them to watch, and it's difficult for them to deal with. So I do have a small presentation, just so that you all can sort of understand. North Carolina DSS, we have 100 directors in North Carolina, and we complete weekly surveys on children who are in DSS offices. Not everybody completes the surveys because not everybody deals with it, and not everybody, sometimes, there's been times where I might have missed a day or two, but I go back. But, okay, so if you look at the first one, the data on page 3 and 4 reflects the children who had overnight stays in DSS offices during a week. The data on page, so you got several pages, and you're going to always reflect back to page 2 because it's letting you know where the data is coming from. Next slide, please, Corey. So children in DSS offices, the blue line, as you can see, and it's self-explanatory. I'm not going to read it all, but the number of children is represented by the blue line. And this is from January 5th through August the 23rd, 2025. So these numbers are, as accurate as we could possibly have. You could do the next slide. So let me read this one, because the ones that I really want you to look at for this one is, well, we could read it. A child needs a foster child or kinship placement in a non-therapeutic where none was available. Number 2, no traditional foster care kinship placements available, pursuing an assessment to determine a residential treatment is clinically appropriate. Number 3, care managers assigned placement recommendations at levels 2 or 3 and none available. Number 4, care managers assigned placement recommended to a PRTF, which is a psychiatric residential treatment facility, and none available. Number 5, discharge from a level 2 or level 3 PRTF without a plan in place. Number 6, discharge from level 2 or 3 PRTF without a plan in place, pursuing post-discharge assessment, determine what level residential, because they don't know what level the child needs. Number 7, closure of a licensed facility or home. And number 8, discharge from a hospital without placement plan. Now, I would like to add this. We have had directors to be arrested for not picking up a child from a hospital. We have had the state come in to review for social services agencies because they're not providing the care or not picking up these children from hospitals. And we've also had people, they tried to arrest us for if a child goes out. We cannot leave a child, we cannot make a child stay in the building. We are not a licensed facility. So if ever they, whenever they come in our building, if they decide to walk out, it's nothing that we could do. But we've had children to attack workers throughout the state. We've had children to go out and party and come back and break glass and slit their wrists. We've had all of that. And I mean, it's really psychologically damaging for the workers who have to work with these children. Next slide, Corey. So each section of the state has a different LME, MCO, and ours is Trillium. Now they have, combined, but, and it's just going over some of the numbers, and you can look at that, and reasons number 1 and 2, like I said, refer back to your page 2, and that will tell you different things. That's not important. It's important, but, So, next slide. Okay, right there. At the end of August 2025, there were approximately 10,500 children in foster care. In 10,454 were from ages 0 to 17, 898 from ages 18 to 20 in the extended foster care program. It's called our 18 to 21 program. And we have had 2 of them in our county, and we still have 1. In 2025, there's an average of 26 foster children sleeping in DSS offices each week for an average of 107 nights during the week. An average of 8 children a week spend all 7 days in a DSS office. Children sleeping in DSS offices represent 0.20% of the foster children in North Carolina. During 33 weeks of the collected data for the calendar year of 2025, a licensed foster home was needed in 36% of the cases, and a mental health placement was needed in 64 of the cases, 64%. So what that means is we are in need of regular foster homes for those children who just don't have a place to go. But the mental health ones is the ones that we really need, but they have the right to say no. We've had to put children, I came before you all because we had to put a child in Arizona, and the social worker has to go to Arizona every month. We had to put a child in South Carolina. I have 2 social workers back there. They were going to South Carolina every month. We have to see these children. We have to. We have no choice. And then when we cannot, let's say we have to put them in a respite. The child that we have right now is in a respite. We put him in the hospital. He is out of the hospital. He went to a respite on the 3rd. He's in that respite, which is about 3 hours away. So they have to see him every month. But the LME is paying for the first 18 days. After that, we've had a child in the same home, and I've come before you all before this and said this again, it's $10,000 a month. Taxpayers' money, $10,000 a month. This is a serious, serious problem. We try to find placement. That's why we put the child in Arizona. As long as Trillium is going to pay for it, I will put them wherever if they need to go to Hawaii and we have to fly worker, I'd rather do that than have to pay taxpayers' money to have or have my staff in danger, or have to pay taxpayers' money for a placement, a respite placement that is not appropriate for a child. Next slide, Corey. So this slide sort of shows in 2023, 2024, and 2025. The blue line is 2025, the number of children that stayed in DSS offices. So the average number of children staying overnight in DSS offices in 2023 was 88. The average number in 2024 was 22, and in 2025 is 26 thus far. Next slide, Corey. Mr. Tyler, I'm sorry. 2023 compared 2023, 2025, total number of nights during the week. Same thing. The average total number of nights a week, DSS office in 2023, 113 nights. This is the average now. In 2024, 85. And in 2025, we're still, it's 107. We're not completed yet, so. Next slide, Corey. Mr. Tyler, I apologize. The number of licensed foster home versus mental health placements. Now, it is evident that we definitely need we need regular foster homes, but look at the mental health ones. We need the number of licensed foster homes versus mental health placements. 42% in regular license in last year, 58%. 2025, 36%, 64. So what is that telling us? We have a lot of children that have mental health needs that need to be in specialized facilities, and being in a DSS office is not a specialized facility. And you can read this one, the reasons that foster children stay in DSS offices. Child needs a foster care home, none available. Non-traditional foster care placements available, pursuing assessments. We have to wait for a clinical assessment. Care manager assigned placement recommended at a level 2 or level 3, none available. These places, we've been waiting for a bed at Central Regional Psychiatric Hospital for the last month and a half. Cherry Hospital, the last month and a half. Bryn Mawr. So, I mean, there's other people. There's other counties waiting for the same beds. Shortly, probably within the next year, there's a facility in Greenville getting ready to open up, and they promise us we're going to have beds, but we can't go by that. We don't know. But we are not trained. I'm not trained. My staff is not trained, and they're scared because anything can happen. And the first thing people go out, we're going to be on WRAL because they say that we're allowing this to happen. We're allowing that. We're doing the best that we can with what we have to work with. So these are just some of the reasons, and I just needed everyone to know. Next slide, Corey, this is the last slide. And we have, like I said, we work with Trillium. Now, the one thing I can say, Trillium has been, just wonderful working with us. They have helped us. That's why the child was at that hospital for so long. And I appreciate it. They helped us find, he was getting ready to be discharged, and they helped us find a respite place to keep him from being in our building again. And I appreciate that, but my only concern is that when the 18 days is up, what are we going to do? So I'm praying that we find a placement for this child, and not only him, the other children, because we've had to do this several times. And but I just feel like now we have to do something for my staff that's having to come away from their families, because it's okay. And well, I'm not going to say it's okay when we have those children who just need a place to go. But when you have those violent children and children who will attack, then I have a problem. And then, yes, I will stay. And you can ask them, I'm going to stay there with them. I'm going to be there with them. That is what a leader is supposed to do. So that is my presentation. You all have seen my ask and request. I do ask compensation for my staff, myself, and the officer, and based on the number of hours. And for me, I'm not asking for hours, just whatever set amount I'm fine with, but I just feel like I'm taking away from my family as well. So with that being said, I just wanted to let you all know and see if you all will approve for my board to make a decision as well and go from there.
Anyone have any questions?
Any questions? That's right. Or comments? And I would like to just introduce them. Leanne Parks, Angela Cook, Timothy Mitchell, Denise Young. I also have Ms. Shaw, but she's here for something else. And then again, my board members, and I thank you for supporting. They have been very supportive, and I keep Dr. Edwards and my board, I keep, and Mr. Phillips, I keep them in, I just have to let them know what's going on at all times. And I do, so that he can let you all know.
Is this an item we need action on tonight?
No, well, no, it's up to you. You don't have to. I just want to know.
They had another matter too.
Yeah, I have got several of them.
Yeah.
So also, well, let me say this. So we've had, this time, we've had this child from September the 13th to October the 3rd. We had 48 shifts. And again, it's a lot. Some of them had to split because it's hard because they still have a job to do. And then if you work that midnight to 8 a.m. shift, you're not coming to work that next morning. We had some that had to because we had court, but we try not to. So, but that's just it for that one. Okay. Next item. I'm not sure what the next item is. What's the, it's,
It says DSS.
Matt, okay, well, let me do them all then, okay. So,
Okay.
okay. You have a contract before you for, and this is why Miss Charlotte is here. She is our child support supervisor. We have a contract for Miss Wendy H. Rose. She is an attorney, and we need an attorney for child support. There has been some changes with the courthouse. The courthouse has now gone to e-courts, and it is a difficult transition that we've had to make, and we're still adjusting to it. But Ms. Wendy Rose has represented Hertford and Bertie in child support, and I am requesting, and, you know, Luther has done a great job. He has been loyal and very dedicated, and I am still trying to, keep him as a backup. But Ms. Rose is more up to date with the changes, and we are asking that we approve her contract.
Anyone have any questions about this contract? You've got a copy of it in your packet. I believe.
And that is the action item, because we have child support court next week.
Okay.
Oh, it was today. Oh, it was today.
Today.
So, I might have jumped a little bit, but we needed an attorney.
Is that the only,
That's the only action item that I have on here. Everything else is just information.
Mr. Chairman, if it was in order, Madam, Ms. Taylor, thank you and Department of Social Service for all that you do. Thank you all so much. I mean, the things that you're describing, I'm pretty sure many citizens don't know occur. And when you look at safety and welfare of our DSS, and I thank the board, for the DSS board as well, for all of us coming together monthly to discuss the matters, and definitely you keeping us informed. I believe this should be an action item tonight, Mr. Chairman, and not just wait. And so if we could take action on both of these items, if it pleases the board, I think that would be in order. And to our chairperson, Ms. Vincent, thank you so much as well.
And I just echo the same sentiment. I have an opportunity to talk with Ms. Taylor quite often, and also engage with her wonderful staff. And we appreciate all that you all do, because we know that it's not easy. And so whatever we can do to support, definitely in support of. And I agree with Dr. Edwards, if we can take action on this tonight, let's do it. And, and I know you said, Ms. Taylor, that if you can do more, we certainly would like to, because we know that after taxes and things of that sort, $100 is not a lot. So we want to make sure that we, compensate, appropriately for what your staff and for what you are doing as well. So again, can't say thank you enough. Thank you to you, your board as well, and as well as the staff here on tonight.
And I'd also like to thank you for your efforts, your workers, your dedication. Yeah, it takes a lot of dedication to do what you guys are doing, and we would definitely like to help
Yes.
any way we could.
Thank you.
well, do I have a motion to approve the workers' compensation as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the workers' compensation as presented by DSS Director, Ms. Taylor.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Barnax Taylor.
Okay, motion is carried. Next, do we have a motion to approve the Wendy H. Rose contract for legal services?
I move we approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Barnax Taylor.
Aye, motion is carried.
Okay.
That's approved
Thank
also.
you. I also have but thank you again. I also have a decision paper, and the only reason I have to bring it before you all is because it is for a new position, and they were part-time positions, but it is a new position. It is for the, a maintenance person. Part-time is only, 19 hours a week, and that is not enough. Our building needs to be painted, the floors need to be done. So I have asked to have, 2 full-time maintenance people, but they work 30 hours. And the reason I have to bring it before the board is because that means once they start making 30 hours, working 30 hours, then that means they have to go into the retirement system. So that is my request for bringing it, that's the reason I'm bringing it to the board. Now, if they don't, if it doesn't work out, then I can go back to like 1 full-time, because we don't have a full-time anyway. So I can go to 1 full-time and a part-time. But for right now, that is what my request is, because again, I want to keep our building. Our building has been there since 2013, so it needs some work done. And so I just want to just maintain it. So that's why I'm asking. Oh, that's,
We got any questions? Do you have this in your budget?
I do.
Okay.
And my last, and I know that's not, well, I don't know if that's an action item or does it need to be, I'm not sure. But it's a decision paper. So,
Is this required? Yeah.
I mean, it does.
Okay. All right.
If you want to take action tonight, or if you do.
Y'all want to, is the wishes of the board to take action on this tonight, or? Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gotta get a motion?
Shall I move approval for the full-time maintenance staff at DSS?
Second. Second.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Barnax Taylor.
Okay, all right.
and my last item, Mr. Phillips asked me just to give you a quick update on the government shutdown and how it will affect DSS. We don't have a lot of information, but just before we came in today, about 4 something, we did receive some information. So with our program integrity, we could not process any tax interceptions until the shutdown is over. So normally we get taxes from our absentees' parents, and we go ahead on and process them, and we issue them to the recipient for their child. And so right now, everything is on hold for that. So our program integrity worker is not going to be able to process any tax interceptions. And then also with the food and nutrition program, October benefits will continue to go out, but if the shutdown is not resolved within the next week, it may affect November's benefits. And then number 3, for Medicaid and food and nutrition, our able-bodied adults without dependents has been raised from age 18 to 54 to 18 to 64. This means that people have to work at least 20 hours a week or have a doctor's note saying that they are physically or mentally incapable of working. And I will keep you informed of any other changes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, economic development.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Seems like we have a lot of requests for funding and spending money tonight. So I'm going to change that up just a little bit. In your package, you will find an executed community benefits agreement from Sun Energy One. Just to remind the board, Sun Energy One is the developer of Cherry Solar and Oak Solar in Gaston. This is one of the largest solar farms here. And tonight we are excited to present an additional investment in our county worth about $1.9 million. Tonight we have a representative from the company, Mr. Reginald Bynum. Reggie, can you come up? In this package here, you'll see, and I'm not going to read the entire agreement here, and I'll let Mr. Reggie present on behalf of the company shortly. But nevertheless, We've had some conversations with the CEO of the company, Mr. Kenny Habul, and he has heard some of the concerns that we have stressed in our public meetings and has reached out to invest funds in the public health care and other components of our community. In short, his sponsorship to investment in Northampton County will include $1.5 million towards the construction of a new EMS station. That would be a new EMS station that would be county-owned and maintained and located in the western part of the county. The second piece of his sponsorship will include $250,000 towards the purchase of a new ambulance to support our EMS fleet. The third piece will include a $50,000 grant towards the renovation of our ambulance fleet. And the fourth option will include $100,000 that will be used towards educational activities and other youth activities located in the county. All of that brings us to a total of $1 million that will be sponsored by Sun Energy One. In addition to the benefits outlined in this agreement, the company has expressed its verbal commitment to continue to support the citizens located in the Voltaire community. We've had some initial conversations and look forward to those continued discussions and hopefully working towards a resolution. Nevertheless, this is something that is is growing attention in the country, and it is actually now more common than many of us know. And we're excited about it. I think it's a great addition and a great investment to our county. So I'll let you speak, Greg.
First of all, thank you all for having me. It's good to see some of you all again. I spoke briefly to our team here. Again, my name is Reginald Bynum, and I'm the Community Relations Manager and Zoning Manager for Sun Energy One. Really just happy to be a part of this. If anyone knows me before I had this journey here, it was all about community benefits and making sure that where there is development, that there is an investment in the community. It's a step in the right direction. We are typically a company that does this a lot, but we are very private about the things that we do for obvious reasons during this very contentious climate around renewable energy. But very happy to do this, very happy to provide a service to the county, and those wishes are from our CEO and also from everyone in the company. So thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Board members, any questions about the agreement that Mr. Bynum or I can answer? No comments?
Does this require any action tonight?
Yes, sir, it does. All right. It was tabled from the last.
Right, okay.
Mr. Bennett, I have a question.
Yes.
Would the CEO come back, but he was gonna be here last week,
Yes.
but because of the cancellation of the meeting, he didn't come.
Correct.
He was gonna be here.
Yep. We have asked if he could come and present at some point. Don't have a date yet,
Okay,
but that is certainly a request we've made.
okay, so,
I was hoping he could make it. He was scheduled to come last week, but he was unable because of
okay,
cancellation.
so he may come back.
If any of you who are unaware, we're currently renting space in Garysburg for our EMS on that end of the county, and they do not even have sleeping quarters. If there's a male and a female, EMT on duty at the same time, they don't even have separate sleeping quarters, so we really do need a new EMS station.
And just to take that a little bit further, the company likes to invest or sponsor money in those types of departments, public health, emergency management services versus, for lack of a better phrase, more frivolous items. They want to see the impact to the community, and emergency healthcare services is one. And as you guys can see, Leslie just requested the lease of another facility, Wildwood. So there is a need for a facility on the western end of the county.
Absolutely.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve this community benefits agreement?
Chair Martin, I make a motion that we approve the benefits agreement.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, Derek.
And I'll make sure I follow up on CEO.
Because we don't want to leave those citizens of the Voltaire community out.
Correct.
All right, tax department.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be before you this evening to present 3 items for your approval. The first being to obtain the board's approval for 11 ad valorem tax appeals in the amount of $10,357.38. The next item I bring before you is your approval for motor vehicle refunds. It was 3 of those in the amount of $599.68. $599.68. The last item I bring before you today, this evening, is one resolution authorizing upset bid procedures for sale of property owned by Northampton County. None of these are action items this evening.
Does anyone have any questions? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, now county manager and board comments.
Good evening again. I have a statement here from Megan Vick, who is our health director. I asked her the same question as far as the federal shutdown and the impact on the health department, and she wrote this message for me to read back to the commissioners and to the citizens, so I'm just going to read this verbatim. Northampton County Department, which administers the Women, Infants, and Children WIC Supplemental Nutrition Program, is working alongside state officials to monitor the potential local impact of the federal shutdown on these benefits. There have been several federal shutdowns over the past decade, and if we look at the history of those, things have usually been resolved within a few weeks or less. The state WIC office has said that funding is available for now to maintain state and local WIC operations and benefits. To help keep local WIC participants informed of potential impacts, the Northampton County Health Department has issued the following guidance. Our clinic is still open. WIC staff will continue to assist clients with the full range of services. If WIC participants currently have benefits, they can continue using them at WIC-approved retailers. If possible, they should use their current benefits in the next 2 weeks in case the federal shutdown continues long-term. WIC benefit packages cannot be redeemed early. Participants can access their benefits on the EBT Edge app, which is available for Apple and Android services. Our local WIC office will continue to communicate with the WIC participants in our community as we receive updates. Participants are also urged to stay tuned to our Facebook page for updates. Participants and community members who have questions about WIC or who need WIC services may call Northampton County Health Department at 252-534-5841. Again, it's 252-534-5841 for more information, and that was from Megan Vick. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out again. If there's any inquiries or any concerns that you're not getting a response to, please reach out to me, reach out to Ms. Gatlin. We want to know about those things. We definitely want to help to resolve matters and not to put things off. So if you don't get a response from any of our departments, and I'm not saying that you're not, but if you don't, please call us and let us know. If you are expecting a document or an email and you don't get it according to a deadline, please reach out and let us know, because that's not the intention. Again, I thank each and every one of you for your commitment to the county. And it's an old saying, but it means, it says a lot. Together we can make a difference. I really believe that. Together we can make a difference. Thank you. Have a blessed night. Get home safely.
We'll start to my left with Ms. Rawnex Taylor.
I'd like to thank all the citizens for coming out tonight. And I'm thinking about what I used when I ran for office. Not one, not some, but all of us in Northampton County. So when one of us are feeling down, or one of us don't get our way, and one of us feel defeated, all of us feel defeated. And it saddens me that things have not worked out as I would have liked them to for those citizens in the Voltaire community. I wish I had a magic wand and I could make everything okay for those citizens. But if you just got some time, I would encourage you, if you don't have anything to do, to take a ride down Cherry, I think it's Cherry Tree Lane, and just take a ride down Cherry Tree Lane if you don't have anything to do, and look at those solar farms for yourself. It will take your breath away. I stood out there with Miss Vinson, Miss Sylvia Vinson, and there were so many solar farms, so many panels. I thought I was at Virginia Beach because they looked like waves of water. So go see for yourselves what these people are talking about, so you will get a sense for yourselves. And as I hit her path, my head began to hurt because I could smell the smoke that community smells every day. Not one, not some, but all of us in Northampton County. And again, thank you for coming.
Commissioner Whitaker.
I want to say good evening to everyone, and thank you to all of our citizens for coming out, as well as our staff as well. Again, I just want to share just some of the wonderful events that have been going on across the county that have had a chance to participate in. I know the Chamber of Commerce had after hours, which was awesome. Smell of Money documentary, that was definitely, I would encourage anybody that haven't seen it to definitely to take a look at it, and we appreciate that invite as well. Also looking forward to some of our community fall events that are centered around some of our youth. We got a couple of invites, and I definitely plan on participating in that. As also giving a highlight to Cool Springs Male Chorus had opportunity to participate in their anniversary, and as well as the Chapel Hill Baptist Church Annual Women's Day. We had a huge showing of the county government staff, and so just want to thank that committee, Deaconess Whitaker, and also Deacon Ruffin as well, for giving me the opportunity to serve as guest musician on that particular Sunday. And again, as we listen to your concerns, citizens, we want to always make sure that we take it to heart. We can't come up with all the solutions right there on the spot, but if we continue to dialogue and continue to talk to the necessary parties, as Dr. Edwards has said so many times, we can come to a resolve. I would like to share that on last Monday, I had shared probably about a month in advance that I would not be able to attend last Monday's meeting. So I always try to be transparent with our citizens and with our staff when I foresee that I may not be able to attend a meeting. There's a high possibility that I may not be able to attend next Monday's meeting because of how the meetings have kind of fallen out of sync with having to come on tonight, because I do have a conference that I have to travel to. But again, definitely committed to the work, definitely committed to the citizens as well as our staff, and want to just thank you all for all that you do. Thank you, Dr. Phillips, and thank you, Dr. Gatlin, for your assistance as well. And again, I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful evening.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It means a lot to hear your voice. I know we get phone calls, and all of us probably get quite a few. I do, but it's always I guess it's our job to try to get it to the right place and work for the betterment of Northampton County. I always say, I'd like to thank every worker in Northampton County, because I feel like they're dedicated. We all have problems. But just keep us informed. We want to hear from you, and we'll do the best we can. Thank you for coming out, and be safe.
Vice Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and please give us your concerns so that we can improve Northampton County. Thank you.
Thank everybody for coming out, and on a lighter note, it was pointed out to me at a previous meeting that when you see me drinking my Coke, it looks like I'm drinking bourbon. It's not, although some nights I may wish it was, but it's not, it's Coca-Cola. I thank everybody for coming out and drive safely. All right, could I get a motion to go into closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move we go into closed session pursuant to General Statute 143-3, 1011A personnel, and General Statute 143-11A4, Economic Development Committee report.
Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting is recessed to go into closed session. Thank y'all.
Yeah, good, thank you. Get the peanuts in.